Hey there friends, interesting video today. I want to talk a little bit more about this Appalachia shooter and his family, some of the things that are happening, and that a little bit of news is finally starting to trickle out about more the background of this shooter and his family. First guys, go check out my friends Attorneys on Retainer. These guys are not an insurance company. You've heard all the old news about the insurance companies, and some have changed their policies because they've got called out on stuff. Why bother going with somebody who has to tweak their policy to make people happy? Go with an actual attorney firm who's already making people happy. These guys at Attorneys on Retainer, they're who I have. They're who I trust my livelihood and my future to, knowing that if I'm carrying a firearm and I unfortunately have to end up using it, I'm protected by an attorney, not an intern on a telephone trying to determine what person they need to pass you through on a switchboard who's going to determine if they're going to cover you anyway. Sign up now, my friends, Attorneys on Retainer, for optimum protection in the unlikely event you have to draw your carry firearm in self-defense. Use my code FTATF and receive $50 off your individual sign-up fee. Again, use my code FTATF and receive $50 off your individual sign-up fee. So as most of you guys know, the suspect's father also was arrested yesterday, seemingly for giving the son an AR style rifle, and I'm using their term AR style because we don't know yet if it's an AR pistol. We don't know exactly what it is. They keep using the term style. I think that's going to matter, and I'll get more into that here in a second. So I'm just curious on a bunch of things. I have a lot of questions. First of all, let's look at this latest news report that talks about the father being arrested and some of the ways they put these pieces together in order to justify arresting the father for the actions of the son.
Late today, the I-Team obtained a recording of a sheriff's office interview of both Grays, recorded after the FBI received a tip last year about a threat to shoot up a school.
Do you have weapons in the house?
I do.
Are they accessible to him?
They are. I mean, there's nothing loaded, but they are down.
Okay.
We do a lot of shooting. We do a lot of deer hunting. He shot his first deer this year. Like, I don't know. I don't know anything about him saying like that, and I'm gonna be mad as hell if he did. And then all the guns will go away, and they won't be accessible to him. You know, I'm trying to be honest with you. I'm trying to teach him about firearms and safety and how to do it all, and get him interested in the outdoors.
Now, that's just a portion of the Jackson County Sheriff's Office interview.
Fox 5 I-Team reporter Johnny Edwards says it's part of an emerging picture of a troubled family and some missed warning signs.
From what we're learning, Colt Gray's home life was fraught with problems. Police reports and court records concerning his parents, Colin and Marcy Gray, reveal a broken family. Colt living with his father, his two younger siblings living with their mother. Marcy Gray was arrested late last year for scratching her husband's truck. Then, when they arrested her, police say they found her with methamphetamines, fentanyl, and a glass pipe. She was sentenced to 46 days in jail. Also last year, Colt Gray and his father received a visit from Jackson County Sheriff's investigators. They were looking into an FBI tip. Apparently, someone on a gaming app had threatened to shoot up a middle school. They believed Colt may have been involved. According to incident reports, the then 13-year-old told investigators he didn't make those threats. Here's a sheriff's investigator talking to Colt Gray.
I promise I would never say something like that.
So you haven't used Discord in a few months?
Oh, no.
And you're saying you didn't say anything like that?
No, the only thing I have is TikTok, but I just go around there and watch videos.
Okay.
Colt's father told police he did have guns in the house. He said they were accessible but not loaded. He said he and his son would go hunting and shooting together. He said he wanted his son away from video games and into the outdoors. Colt even shot his first deer that year. Colin Gray also told police his son had problems at school, including being picked on.
I've been up to school, like, I'm on first name. I just was up there 3 days ago for his finals, talking to the principal, like, look, we talk about it quite a bit. Okay. All the school shootings, things that happen.
Yeah, scary.
Hey, are you getting picked on at school? He is. He's getting picked on at school, and is everything okay? That's why I keep going up there.
After that talk, police left. They weren't able to substantiate the tip. Here's where a breakdown may have occurred. The Jackson County Sheriff tells us she believes her department alerted Jackson County schools, telling them keep monitoring Colt Gray. In an email obtained by the I-Team, a sheriff's captain tells the FBI, we have made area schools aware and will monitor this subject. But by that point, Colt Gray had already finished 8th grade at Jefferson Middle School. By 9th grade, he and his father had moved to a different county, and that's where he started at Appalachia High School in Barrow. This is what we're still trying to figure out, if that alert from Jackson County carried over to the new school districts, and what would monitoring even mean? We don't know.
So first of all, guys, make no mistake, this is an outright attack on law-abiding gun owners, and to try to, I guess, frighten people into having firearms, using firearms to protect yourself and your family. And of course, certainly don't teach your child responsibly how to use a firearm, because you might wind up in prison if they do something. Now, I'm certainly not saying that the father didn't do anything wrong. That's completely beside my point that I'm trying to make right now. This, again, is without a doubt an attack on law-abiding Americans to frighten them. This is not about the dad. This is not about true justice. This is about going forward, and they're using this instance to go forward. Now, were there rights and were there wrongs? Yeah, there were definitely rights and there were wrongs. So the claim is that the dad, after being visited by the local sheriff's department, and a real quick side note, there are people out there saying that the FBI visited this family. It wasn't the FBI. The FBI notified the family after there was a report on Discord of somebody threatening a school shooting. They notified local law enforcement, which then the sheriff's department locally went to visit the Gray family, and they spoke to Colin and Colt Gray, the father and the son. At the time, the son, of course, was 13 years old. So they visited, questioned the dad and the son. The dad said that he would lock all the guns up if there was an issue, or if he found out that the son had made this threat. The son denied making the threat. My question to all of this is, if you are on a website that is literally worldwide, and you have the technology and the intelligence to narrow something down specifically to a person's home, you mean to tell me that you can't tell emphatically if it was, in fact, that person? What did he say? Somebody hacked my account. It wasn't me. You had enough knowledge to go straight to this person's home, and you tell me the trail goes dead after that? You can't pursue that any further? I mentioned this yesterday, and you guys know who follow me. I am adamantly opposed to any variation of a red flag gun law. So this is not me saying that I would be okay with that. I always say you're not a criminal until you break the law. So you can't touch anybody until they become a criminal. Leave them alone. Well, in this case, the kid broke the law. He made a threat. He threatened to shoot up a school. So you have what you need at that point to do something. You don't need somebody saying, oh, he's unsafe to himself or somebody else. No, he already made that threat. He initiated the whole purpose of having the law in place to begin with. He started that process, and you refuse to do anything about it. I also have a question regarding the FBI, which very low confidence in the FBI. Did he just disappear off of your radar after that? You certainly had enough information to go to his home, or at least to send the sheriff's department to his home. So you had intel, right? After that, did you just go, oh, well, he said it wasn't him? I stated it yesterday. Same with the OJ thing. Well, if it wasn't him, who was it? Did you stop looking? So the FBI, I think, has a hand in this. I think the arrest of the father is to cover up a lot of the misgivings and the screw-ups by the FBI and possibly local law enforcement. Not throwing local law enforcement under the bus, because I don't know what kind of intel they had. Certainly they don't have the tools that the FBI has. But the FBI had a responsibility after that, because this kid had broken the law by making a threat to shoot a school up and other people. The FBI had a responsibility to stay on that trail, and if nothing else, to keep an eye on somebody. They had their reasons, right? This is not, again, a red flag thing where, oh, you have probable cause, so it's some thinly veiled garbage where somebody posted a picture of a handgun online. That's not a threat. Making the actual threat is against the law, and people should be held to account for that. I don't want my child going to a school where there's constant threats of shooting the school up. That's against the law. You cannot do that. So again, that process was already put in motion. The FBI walked away from that process. They said, we're good. And then this happened. So I think they're trying to cover their own tracks for screwing up so bad by trying now to shift all the blame to the father. Now, does the father have blame? You damn right he does. I am dead set against anybody trying to hold parents accountable for the stupid things their kids do, unless the parents are part of the problem and empowering that. This father was visited by local law enforcement through tips by the FBI, like we just discussed, on a potential school shooting. He then turned around months later and got the boy an AR-style rifle for Christmas in December of 2023. Wait a minute. So you've already mentioned that your son is being bullied. It will come out, but he's likely on medication. Definitely black box warning, psychotropic drugs. For those of you that get mad because I say that, piss off. I'm calling a spade a spade. The boy was on drugs, there's no doubt. So then the dad thinks it's a good idea to cheer the son up. Buy him an AR-15. You have literally been visited already for the same scenario that just happened when he threatened to do that. How in your right mind do you see it fit to do that? You guys know me as being a staunch supporter of the Second Amendment and all constitutional rights. But there has to be a certain amount of freaking common sense at play here too. You can't sit here and tell me, oh, well, it's a constitutional right. Wait a minute. You were given a warning. You threw fuel on the fire. Did you try to get your son help after that? Did you talk to him? Did you just yell at him after the cops left after that meeting? Or did you try to work with this kid? Doesn't seem like you worked with him very good. Again, the olive branch in this case didn't seem like an AR-15 was the right olive branch to be extending to the kid. Maybe you could have figured another way to make him happy. You had the Michigan incident where they had the warning and they could have thwarted it right then and there. And then you had this instance where he bought the gun after the warning. So again, we're not doing our part as frickin' adults here. You say what you want about how remarkably smart kids are these days. Kids' brains are not fully developed until they are 26 years old. So let's stop acting like, oh, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. No, their brain is still being wired at these early age. And again, that goes back to these psychotropic drugs that we're throwing at them at such early age and totally rewiring their own brains and giving them these suicidal anxiety type drugs. Yeah, I know you're giving them the drugs to combat depression and anxiety. Have you ever looked at the black box warnings on them? Every single one of them has the same warning: anxiety, suicidal tendencies, homicidal tendencies, mania. Look at them all. And you're giving them to your child and expecting nothing to happen. And then you get surprised whenever this stuff happens. Miss me with the, I've been taking these drugs my whole life and I'm fine. I never said everybody it would apply to. But it's just like a smoker. Not everybody dies of lung cancer who smokes a cigarette. But a lot do. Not everybody is going to have the same outcome whenever they take this medication, just like not everybody has the same outcome whenever they smoke cigarettes or do other things that happen to cause cancer. Now I want to get back to the father being charged for giving the son the gun. Again, stupid decision. At this point, I know that the anti-gun movement is going to use this type of situation in a different way to go after people who are not responsible for what happened. The father certainly owns some of the responsibility here. Let's make no mistake about that. But where the law is going to come into play, in the state of Georgia, where these children cannot have various firearms, it allows for handguns to not be given to young people, right? So a minor cannot have that handgun. Where I think there's going to be a play on words here potentially is I don't know yet. They keep calling this an AR style weapon. I wonder if it's an AR pistol, so now they're going to have a technicality to have a stronger charge on the father, because technically, even though it's in the AR platform, it is considered a pistol on paper, right? So you're going to have a legal paperwork technicality to deal with here. If it's a standard AR-15, like what you see behind me, more than likely that's going to be considered a long gun. So the law may not apply in this case. The father could potentially get off because it was not illegal for him to give his son a long gun, only a handgun. So I think that's going to be a difference, whether it was an AR pistol or an AR rifle. Now, still, let's go back to, was it the right thing to do? No, it was not. Not based on the history, not based on the visit from the local sheriff's department, from the warning of the FBI where the son made the threat on the school. That's a different case altogether. I'm talking about from a technical standpoint, will that law of a minor having a gun matter if it wasn't a handgun or an AR pistol, if it was actually the long gun? Now, a lot of people have sent me a lot of things. This boy certainly had mental problems. Duh. I do a lot of covering on gender dysphoria, gender pretenders, people pretending to be another gender. It's a mental condition. It's certainly, in many cases, it's over-medicated because you're throwing drugs at somebody who has a screw loose. I'm not saying that this boy, Colt Gray, did not have gender dysphoria or the myth that he was a different sex. I've seen, actually Daily Mail surprisingly had a headline on that, and I think they retracted that. I think that was more, they were supposing that, like expecting that or thinking that was the case. They didn't have any factual data on that. Now, this could be the case. He could be a trans confused murderer. There's no proof of that right now. Now, the boy is allegedly gay according to the dad and other people. He looks to be getting life in prison if he's convicted, which he will be. So if he likes the D, I guess he's going to be getting plenty of it in prison. Now, speaking of that, I would like to comment on this. And this is a legitimate question that I want to leave you with today. In fact, any of you attorneys out there, I know I have some attorney friends, I would love your comments on this, because I'm not an attorney, but this is something that I can't wrap my head around from a charging standpoint. Okay, Georgia law allows anybody who commits a heinous crime, and I know I'm going to get the words wrong, but somebody who commits a very serious crime, a minor who commits a very serious crime, can be automatically charged as an adult. In other words, they don't have to go to court to determine if they're going to be charged as an adult. The charge is automatically there if it's this type of a crime where they kill a bunch of innocent people. So the boy is going to be charged as an adult. I have a question to those of you out there, the critical thinkers, and especially the attorneys. If the boy is being charged as an adult, he's looked at as an adult, right? Through the court system. He's going to be seen and treated like an adult, meaning that he made a decision that would be equal to that of an adult, right? Because he's being charged as one. If the dad is being charged because he's the adult and he gave the gun to a minor, how does that work? Both things can't be true. If you're treating the child as the adult and the dad is being charged because he's the adult and they feel like he's responsible for what the child did, then how can both be true at the same time? I know that sounds like I'm splitting hairs, but the legal process is going to be asking these same questions. I'm sure his defense attorney, the dad's, is going to say the same thing. Well, wait a minute, you're charging the shooter as an adult. How can the dad be responsible for a child when the child was actually an adult making adult decisions that you charged him for? So you charged him as an adult being responsible for his own actions. So the dad can't be responsible for a child's actions because we don't have a child on trial here. Do you follow what I'm saying? I think that's going to come up. I think that's going to be a part that they're going to have to figure out how to make this work. Now, I'm not saying you can't send them both to jail as a result of that. In fact, I think they overcharged the dad. I think the child abuse charge or whatever that they charge the dad with is bogus. I think there's plenty of other charges that you could hit him with if he bought the firearm, and that's got to be proven also, but if he bought the firearm after the warning came out. But I think it's going to be very eye-opening and maybe set some precedent going forward if they try to charge both of these as an adult working with a child, and this person over here as an adult and not a child. So let's see how that comes out. Guys, I appreciate you guys always watching the videos. Please share. YouTube is hammering me right now. I mean hammering. I went from channel blowing up over the last 2 months to now I think I lost 200 subscribers yesterday. Maybe somebody got their feelings hurt, but I don't think 200 people got their feelings hurt. So I'm seeing YouTube now start to cull some of my subscribers again. Guys, check to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. Please share the video. Please like the video. Always comment, because I really enjoy interacting with you guys. But keep an eye on that, because YouTube is not a fan of mine. They demonetize my videos as they're uploading now. I lose about half of my appeals when I appeal those. So yeah, they're hot on my trail right now. In fact, 2 days ago, there were 3 minor violations that I got all in one day, from age inappropriate, copyright, whenever I don't use copyrighted information or music or anything like that in any of my videos. I forget what else, but it was like 4 violations in the same day, and I think I won all of the appeals. So that's just them jacking with me. Like, I haven't gotten a warning from YouTube since May, and they give me 4 in one day, and I think I won all the appeals. So it's just somebody's playing with me. So I appreciate you guys watching, and of course trying to help me promote the channel and all that kind of stuff. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you all very, very soon again.
I don't understand the point that you're making.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America. He's so horrible.